It's one more week before the end of January 2020. Hello, good afternoon, and warmly welcome to Live Channel 4 live on ETV Ghana, your world of quality entertainment. And it is also live on facebook.com/ETVGH. So you can just go to Facebook now and look for ETVGH, and you'll be able to watch us there as well and share it to your people, because today is going to be very, very interesting, and you don't want to be explaining it to your friends, or you don't want to learn it alone. So you have to share for people to also learn, your friends and your family also to learn from it as well. This is your most inspiring, motivating, and empowering show. Our mission here is to help you continue to take those giant steps to fulfill the purpose for which God created you. So stay with us, because today is going to be very, very fantastic. Let's kick start with our quote of the day, and we take it from Johnny Cash. There was a great quote out there on failure and how to pick yourself up, or not concentrating on your failures but forging ahead. And that brings us to what we'll be discussing today. If you remember, 2 weeks ago we discussed startup business, and our guest did justice to the topic and gave us even lots and lots of startup ideas and how we can go about with that. We will continue shortly with it, but we will also be discussing business sustainability and failure management strategies. Business sustainability and failure management strategies, and that's what we'll be discussing today. Very, very interesting topic, and our guest will do justice to that. But before we do that, let me just remind you that if you are planning of any event, then if you are thinking of logistics, then is Perception Management International, PMI, Perception Management International. So just in case you are so busy and organizing your event, whether being corporate or whatever event it is, outdoor events, indoor or whatever, then you have to call Perception Management International. They will do it for you, and you will never, never regret. Also, just in case you want to organize your own event, but you don't have the logistics, they have stages, lights. I don't know a lot about these events, but they have modern equipment that you need, just what you need for your event. So contact Perception Management International on 020-2222-096, 020-2222-096, or 050-000-5141, 050-000-5141. Perception Management, the mind's eye. Just get in touch with them, and your event will be very, very memorable. Just also a reminder that my outfit is provided by Osasio Fashion. Osasio Fashion says, style your occasion, and you can give them a call on 0243-663-884, 0243-663-884. And you can also look for them on Facebook and on Instagram as well. Osasio Fashion, style your occasion. We take a short break. Okay, I'm being told that I should also remind you that we also have Promasidor products, particularly Yamvita hampers for you. So continue watching, and we'll be giving you some hampers from Promasidor, and its Yamvita is yummy. Stay with us, and when we come back, we'll be discussing business sustainability and failure management strategies. This is Live Chat Report, and today is going to be very, very exciting. And as I indicated, we are continuing what we started about 2 weeks ago on startup business, and then we learned a lot on that. But today we'll be continuing with some of the critical factors you need to know as a startup, and also some of the strategies you need, so just in case you fail, or so that you don't fail at all. So my guest today is a startup business analyst, car consultant, and the CEO of Cecil Ventures, and he is in the person of Emmanuel E.K. Aumi. Welcome to Live Chat, sir.
Thank you.
It's great to have you again.
Same here.
It's so exciting what you shared with us about 2 weeks ago, and how people still want to know more about startup business, because we are in a new century. A lot of people want to start business. We are also in a new year.
Yes.
And so, if you want to start right.
Right.
So 2 weeks ago, you gave us some ideas, some business ideas, and how to go about things. But today, let's first of all look at some of the critical things or important things you need to know as a startup.
Good. Now, to want to start a business, you want to have certain factors considered. Now, what do you want to sell? What is the problem you want to solve? And so you want to identify the product. That problem you want to solve becomes the product of your business. All right? So when you identify that product, you want to find out, are there customers out there who will desire your product? All right? And which target group of these customers will need your product? All right? So you're looking at a product, you're looking at what group of people out there will need your product.
Okay.
By what means are you going to market this product to them? Is it going to be on location basis, or is it going to be on mobile basis? So you're looking at the various channels that you want to use to get your product out to those you've targeted to use your product. All right? Yeah. So you also want to look at what makes your product different from other competitors. So you're looking at value proposition. Okay, so what makes your product unique? So you look at that and put that down as well. And then you also want to look at your operational structures, the equipment you need. Okay, what do you need to get your product running? What do you need to get the business running? You want to look at the equipment. If there is an industry, you want to look at the equipment that you might need in production. Okay, if it's a service, you want to look at the equipment you need for your services. Whatever you need, you want to consider that factor. You also want to look at where will be your source of input, because the end product of your product will definitely require a source.
Okay.
All right, so you want to look at which areas can I get supply to be able to get my end product to deliver. So you want to establish that factor as well. All right, so you want to also look at your management structure, your operational and management structures that you put in place to be able to run the product. Okay, so these are the various factors you want to look at. You also want to look at how will your revenue be collected. Okay, is it an online business or it's a stationary business where you meet one-on-one transactions, or it's a product that you'll be putting online? How do you intend to generate revenue out of the product you're putting out there? So once you do analysis of all this and put all these factors together, you're ready to look at how to launch your business.
Wow.
Yes.
That's very interesting. First of all, let's look at a bit on the management and operation. I mean, startup is mostly one person, and to run it, is it okay immediately to have some people, or when you talk about management or operation, what are you talking about?
Yes, management and operation, obviously, once you initiate that business, you're looking at the marketability of it. You're looking at the sales. You're looking at the branding aspect. You're looking at the account aspect. That means the finance aspect. So definitely it depends on the type of business you are running. That would determine the number of staff you want to employ. Okay, so if it's a business that surrounds just you, and you feel you can manage that until it gets to the stage where you need extra hands, you start small and grow it big. But if starting it will require, you need about 2, 3 or more people, you have to initiate it. So it's business dependent. It depends on which type of service you are rendering, which type of products you are marketing. That will determine how many staff you need to start. Okay, right.
Yeah, okay, yes, exactly. I mean, it's straight on point, but somebody who is starting here, is it easy, for example, to get somebody who will be doing your account for you, somebody who will be doing the marketing for you, and all those things? And sometimes, I don't know whether public relations and the branding and all
All
those
that,
things,
yeah.
or you should be able to at least do a little of each of these, so that as you grow and money starts coming in, you'll be able to hire these people.
Excellent. Now, as an entrepreneur, you want to be a bit of a master of all to start in order to cut cost. So you want to be your marketer, you want to be your own salesperson, you want to be your own finance person, managing all these micro ways, okay, in the small ways. But then the good thing about it is that we have this virtual business concept where you allocate other aspects of the business to other specialized people to handle for you. So for instance, if it is about your finance, the accounting aspect, you can hire someone who could come in to manage your account for you weekly, all right, and then give you a monthly report. And then you pay him as at when he comes in to get that job done, all right? Most often, I always say that we tend to want to own businesses instead of run business. If you want to own business, you run into a lot of cost in keeping and running that business because you want to own every aspect of the business and pay for all those services. So if you're running, for instance, a car rental organization or company, for instance, you don't need to necessarily have 100 cars to yourself or 50 cars to yourself. You could have just one car, but fall on other people who are ready to give out their cars out for rent. All right? So you might not have 100% income when you hire somebody's car for your business, but at least you have some percentage interest out there, which will lessen the burden on you to want to purchase a whole vehicle to go into car rental. So it is about how you put your organizational structures in place to run the business that will determine your efficiency on the ground. And so ease of business comes in when you employ the virtual business concept, where you leverage on other experts' business areas to support what you are doing, and then you be able to run a successful business without necessarily pushing in or raising all the capital yourself. But because we want to own businesses, we are forced to want to raise all the capital, and then it brings so much stress on us.
Wow. But do you think that we do more of partnership these days? I mean, as young people or people who are starting up?
Good. When you look at it under the normal sense, partnership and collaboration should have been one of the best ways to initiate business without much stress. But the factor of trust, especially in our society, has made it such that it becomes very, very difficult for persons to want to go into partnership. So for instance, I tried going into partnership and I paid dearly for it.
Wow.
Okay. Trust become key. Once you want to go into a venture and the trust is not there, it becomes very difficult for you to want to roll up. And so I happened at a point in time when my business ran down flat. And as part of my recovery process, I realized I needed to go back to school. But then, how do I keep the business afloat whilst going to school so that when I come back, I can pick it up and roll it back? So I realized if I could go into partnership with someone who could handle it and keep holding it afloat until I'm back, that would have been fine. Now, I brought this person on board. He came in and things started turning around well with my support.
Right.
So once he realized that was it, I decided to leave it all to him so I can focus on school. With all the view that maybe he also had even returned from Europe. Okay. And so he understand the concept over there. But unfortunately, when I left it for him, he tried to take ownership of the business in my absence.
Ooh.
Yes, so most customers who knew me from the onset started calling to find out from me, did I sell my business out? And I said, no, it's just a partner. You know, now this was what was happening. He had his own complimentary cars printed, and so was now introducing the business to them as his business.
Okay.
All right. And so leaving me out of the stream. Okay. But as time will have it, it couldn't work out for him because in the contract, we made it subject to renewal in 1 year.
Okay.
And so when I got a signal, I just allow his pace to take up. Then at the end of the year, I just came out to say, well, this is the situation. I don't think we can continue with the partnership agreement. And we abrogated it.
Wow.
You understand? So
Yes.
there are so many dynamics into this. There is this other aspect. I think we just jumping into the cautions to take when
okay.
running business.
Right.
Good. There's this other aspect that you also need to look at is not to take verbal agreement into consideration when running a business.
Right.
It is very, very delicate. Verbal agreement. Document it. And usually because we are friends, or you meet a friend and colleague, you want to have a joint venture and run a particular business, you have that mutual trust for each other, and so you negate the aspect of documentation. But trust you me, most often when it gets to the successful moments of the business, that is where the challenge comes. Right. I got myself also involved in something similar, you know, and then I had this landlord who we agreed upon figures, like 300 Ghana cedis. So it was that verbal agreement stuff. So he was giving me a space for like 2 years, and I was supposed to pay 300 Ghana cedis a month. Now, he gave me the go-ahead that he was very busy, and so I can go ahead. Later, we can document. And this is a father figure, so you can't really have that mistrust. So, and as our culture will have it, you can trust the elderly for their words. And so I took his words for that. After I had invested so much, about 40,000 Ghana cedis into the project, a little over a year lapsed, and so he now invited me to his office for us to document the agreement. Now the document was handed over to me, and it was now $500 for 2 years.
The 300 Ghana cedis is now $500
for 2 years.
Man.
All right. Now you argue it out, and he says, well, he's sorry. That is how much he's renting his property. If you cannot, then you need to fold up. You've already invested money. I had already gone for a bank loan facility to have put my investment into it. And now this is the claim. Failure to pay, the law will hold on to you. He's ejecting you from his property. The bank will not have that excuse for you. You will definitely need to pay that money. You see, so these are some of the delicate situations. In fact, that situation crippled my business for life at a point. I had about 5 branches of my business. I lost it all. Wow. I lost all my customers. I lost my workers. And that was the point in which I brought in the partner.
Okay.
And had to go back to school to upgrade my knowledge because I made a mistake of over expansion. So let's look at this point. Sometimes expanding too quick in business can rather collapse your business rather than thinking it's going to bring you a lot of revenue. Because as you expand, your liability increases. All right? So if your revenue inflow does not match your expenditure in maintaining the various branches, what will you be doing to yourself? Okay? So these are factors you need to critically consider. When you expand, when you open up branches and expand so wide, so big, to the public, you are successful.
Yeah.
But the management aspect, how to even manage the staff, the frustration they will give you.
You have that capacity.
Would you have that capacity to be able to manage all of them critically and maintain a good brand? All right? So if you don't take care, misbehavior in one branch can cause you to lose customers in that branch. That will affect your brand and eventually affect all of your other branches. All right? And so I experienced situations of this nature, and I concluded that sometimes you might downsize and be able to make enough profit more than even having several outlets.
Wow. This is very interesting. This is Live Chat 4, and my guest today is Emmanuel E.K. Awumi, and he's a startup business analyst, and he's a car care consultant and the CEO of Cecil ventures. We are talking about some of the critical factors when you are starting a business, but we've even entered into business sustainability and failure management strategies. But we'll do that more. But let's look at a bit of the some of the critical steps or factors again. You mentioned about office. When you are starting, do you need office? Like you made mention of virtual
Concept.
employees or something.
Virtual business concept.
Concept, oh,
Right.
exactly. Do you need an office to be able to start your business?
Yes. Like I said earlier, every business has its own structures of operation. It depends basically first on the type of product you have. Does that product really necessarily need an office? Or it needs a workshop? It needs an ordinary space. Okay, so for instance, you want to set up, let's say, a computer lab. Obviously, you need an office.
Right.
Because you need an enclosed environment set up with electrical fittings. You can connect an air-conditioned environment to secure and protect these electronic gadgets. You want to set up a medical lab, a laboratory. You definitely will need an office. Good. Now you want to establish a mechanical workshop. Much of your product are vehicles that come into your workshop to work in. And you can comfortably park these cars under a garage, a shade, and work on them. You don't really need maybe a walled environment to start with. When you have your simple erected garage kind of structure in a location, you can have some shade in which you can work on your vehicles. Okay, so you don't really need that office in terms of a room in which you have office table, this, that. You know, you need to start small, as we always say, start small and grow big. All right, so as you start small and you keep scaling up and responsibility becomes more, where you need more staff and you have to deal with office work more, then you want to start considering the situation of having an office established.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so it depends on the type of business you start with. That will determine whether you need an office or not.
Perhaps my last question on the critical factors when you are starting up is also products. I mean, products, and that's what you are giving to the people. You talk about the uniqueness of your product.
Yes.
I mean, if, for example, you are all selling one kind of thing, let's say a brand of rice,
Right.
for example, how do you make yours unique?
Good. The uniqueness of your product can come in terms of even customer service. All right. Now, the product is a unit though, but it has all the factors that surround the business operation back in it. How clean you are, how organized you are, how you package yourself and your product even on the market can determine customers coming to you than going to the next person. How well and politely you speak to customers. You could have the same product, the same brand from the same company that you all selling on the same area, but your presentation, your personality presentation, your communication, how well you receive customers, how well you speak to them. You know, so you want to do things that will really appeal to the customer, because it's the customer that is that's going to sustain your business.
Yes.
You know, so customer care is critical to even give you an upper hand over your other competitor. So you want to do away with arrogance, pride. Okay? The ethical aspect of business operation is critical. Most often we speak about the basic materials and equipments we have or we need for business, forgetting about the ethical aspect of it. You know, ethical aspect being eliminated from business operation can cost your business highly.
Wow.
You know, and so in customer service, you have to also have that intuition to be able to identify and know what type of attitude do I need to put up when I'm even provoked by a customer.
Right.
You know, so you need that ethical conviction to let you know that though you've been insulted by the customer, you need to calm it down because you will need him.
Right.
Yes.
Right. This is Live Charity Paul, and my guest today is Emmanuel E.K. Awumi, and I'm sure you are really, really learning a lot of things and the things that he's been sharing with us. Now, we've mentioned a lot of factors that you need to take into consideration as a startup. Now, we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be discussing how do you really ensure that this business is sustained. I mean, when you start, you don't just go off. And just in case, unfortunately, you've already failed, how do you pick yourself up? Because in his speech, I'm sure you heard him say that his business collapsed completely. But now he's doing so well with his business. So we take a short break and we'll be back to deal with such matters. Stay with us. This is Live Charity Paul, and my guest today is a startup business analyst, a car consultant, and the CEO of Cecil Ventures, and he's in the person of Emmanuel E.K. Awumi, and he's been sharing his experiences and what he's learned and how you can have a good business and make sure that it is sustained. Now let's look at some of the strategies you need in order to sustain the business that you've started.
Good. Now, one of the strategies you also need is in the course of running your business, you will find yourself running into partnerships, collaborations, or going into a form of collaboration to actually achieve another height. One thing I want to share is most often we find ourselves going into some collaborations or partnership agreement, and we don't tend to pay critical attention to the exit clauses. All right. Now, when you don't pay attention to the exit clause, you might be taken advantage of. Now, there was this practical experience I had where I had to go into this collaborative arrangement with an organization. And so in the agreement, the exit clause stated that each party can exit the contract without recourse to explanation to the other. All right? So when you see a statement like this, it gets so exciting. So you feel, well, I can choose to walk out and without explaining anything to my partner, and he doesn't have any right to hold me to it. But it's a very dangerous exit clause. So if you ever come across that, watch it carefully. Now, who has the upper hand when it comes to a situation like this? You might have a product that is appealing to the next person, your partner, and he wants to have an idea of how you operate. And after he's gotten the idea of how you operate and decided to exit, what do you do? You've sold off your intellectual property and he's gone with it for free. You would have put in your investment and you would have lost heavily. Now, in this situation, we went into a verbal initial agreement of 5 years, subject to 5 years agreement. Now, when the document was brought, it was made 2 years subject to renewal to 5. All right? With the exit clause stating that each party can decide to exit the contract without recourse to explanation to the other. Now, the two persons or two parties are coming onto the table with mutual benefits. All right? But then one other party might tend to benefit more than the other. So you want to look critically as to whether you are benefiting more or the other party is benefiting more. Now, when the contract came in and we went into operation, I had to put in investment with a view that in 5 years, I can then recoup my investment and then move on if they do not renew. So I had a guarantee assurance that I'm going to be working in partnership with these people for 5 years. Now, the 2 years subject to renewal, I queried it. But then that assurance of credibility in terms of a corporate organization was used as a clause to kind of let me know that they will not go against their word for their credibility. And so I took consolence in that. Now, 2 years lapsed. after my intellectual property has been used to support their effort to, rebrand whatever they wanted to do, they refused to renew to the next to 5 and decided to exit. When I queried it, they activated the clause. Both parties are at will to exit without recourse to explanation to the other. And educated as I am, what will I do? Okay, and so I had to lose my investment at that point. And so it should rather read, in my opinion, we are liable to exit the partnership agreement based on mutual agreement. Okay. All right? If it's some mutual agreement and I do not agree for you to exit, I push you to ensure that what we've agreed on has been completed before you exit, so I can secure and protect my investment. All right? So these are some basic fundamental things we ignore that could run us off our business if we don't take care. And so you might not be able to sustain yourself and your business. If I hadn't gotten enough grounds to establish myself and this happened, it would have been my second experience. All right? So you don't take trust just for an answer, because the person is presumed to be credible. And so you just want to trust that person without having a well-written agreement. Watch it. So I use my life experiences, my business experiences, to want to motivate or to educate the up-and-coming ones, not to make some of these mistakes. Right. Okay, so you can sustain your business and grow faster. If I hadn't made some of these mistakes along the line, or some of these organizations did not take undue advantage of me as a startup, my progress in entrepreneurship would have been higher than it is now. All right? And so watch it out there. There are some individuals, organizations who are there to take undue advantage of you as a startup or an existing business, and you might run your business out. You might not be able to sustain it, and it can cripple you for good. And so let's take note of some of these critical factors. You don't take verbal agreement in business. You watch out for exit clauses in business.
Wow, wow, wow. So these are some of the things you need to do to be able to sustain.
It's very, very critical.
Very critical.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether we should go on to, just in case perhaps you failed already, how do you recover?
Good. In entrepreneurship, challenges are there. You can fail flat, you can fail midway, you can begin to start failing. Whichever state you find yourself, let me deal with those who have failed flat. Now, and those who are in midway or those who are about to can all pick guidance from this and use it to guide themselves. Right. If you fail, you have to deal with the situation in two folds. You want to deal with yourself as a person, and you want to deal with the business as an entity. Because failure will psychologically affect you as an individual. Because you look at how far you have come, and per a decision you made, your business has run down. Well, you can't always guarantee that you can always make the best decision at all times. So some of these challenges could come your way. Just in the event you find yourself taking a decision along the line in your business and you fail, don't stress. Relax. Do an introspection of yourself as an individual. Leave the business aside first, because the psychological effect on you is so heavy that you cannot psych yourself to find a way of thinking about progress anymore. So that pressure can sit you down and you can never rise again. So when it happens, relax and do an introspection of yourself. Find out where the mistake happened. And the first and foremost important thing is to accept that mistake. If it's you, accept it. Don't try to argue and ask why. You ask why, you subject yourself to other questions. And you will keep recounting all this over months and probably into years, and you might not start again. And so you want to accept it. Yes, you've accepted it. Now, what next? The next thing is, what do I do? And then you want to do a SWOT analysis of your person. That is, you see where your strengths are, see where your weaknesses are, see where the opportunities are in you, and see where the threats are around you. You want to deal with all those personal issues. Now, dealing with the failure in you doesn't mean you've committed a crime. To err is human. All right? So accept the fact that you failed and then find a way of going around that failure. If it were a decision you took, you've learned from the lessons. All right? Yeah. Now, after you've dealt with yourself and you've been able to recollect yourself and stabilize yourself, your emotions, the mind is now ready to work. Then you visit the business. What went wrong in the business? The decision you took that affected the business this way and that way. What were some of the structures that were not rightly put in place that allowed your decision to affect the business? So you do a SWOT analysis of the business as well. See the weaknesses, the strengths in the business, the weaknesses in the business, the opportunities that surround the business, and the threats. Now, take up and pay attention to the weaknesses and the threats. Focus on those ones and correct them. If it will require that you have to spend 2, 3, or 4 years in correcting the wrongs before springing back, do it. In my case, I found a weakness in me in financial management. Okay, so I realized I need enough education on financial management, and I needed to go back to school. So I have to enroll in the university and get myself trained. Go for it.
Wow. Wow. This is live chat. And maybe quickly on that, I think we've touched some of it also. How do you know if your business is about to fail? Will you see it, or it just happens all of a sudden?
Yes. That is why record keeping is important. Okay? So you want to be taking records of your operations, your sales, especially. Looking at the figures, your customer base. You want to have a database to find out what are the number of customers you have, what are your sales records like. Okay, that is what financial management helps you to do. And so by monitoring your customer base, your sales records, your operation, and then your worker turn around. Do you have your workers leaving the job back and forth? They come in, they don't take time, they are leaving. By analyzing all this, it can give you an indication as to your business, whether it's doing well or it has challenges. Are you getting too many feedbacks that are not good for the business? All right, so you want to pay attention to some of these critical things and want to respond to feedbacks coming from customers that are not right to correct them. Okay, if you pay attention to some of these critical key factors in terms of collecting data and analyzing the data, you can avert the failure, because it would have helped you to notice that something is going wrong. I used to be making about 10,000 a month, but it seems for some time now I've started recording about 5,000 down to 3,000 down to 2,000. What is happening? The customer rate has dropped. My workers have started going back and forth. Attitude at work, so many things are not as it used to be. This should give you a signal something is happening. Wow. You have your loyal customers, you are not seeing them again. Your loyal workers are resigning. Then you begin to have signals. Wow. You begin to set up and watch out what is going on. You know, and so you need to pay critical attention. That's why most often we have people who have entrepreneurial ideas. They want to establish it and employ people to manage it while they are elsewhere. Well, that would have been the best thing to do. But unfortunately, in our setting, especially within the informal sector, when you do that in Ghana, be ready to collapse your business. All right? And so you want to have a lot of monitoring and control paying critical attention to whatever is happening around your business. You don't want to take it for granted, especially when your staffs are not properly treating your customers well. You don't want to take it for granted. All right? You want to pay attention to some of these key factors, and they are very, very, very important. We ignore them, but they cost a lot. Customer care is critical. It can easily roll your business down.
Is it good to have a mentor in when you are starting a business?
Very, very, very important. Maybe if I had a mentor, I would have averted a lot of the mistakes I made. But because I didn't have, I have to go through the mill and get my experience out of pain. And so to most who are listening to me today, I will say you are blessed. All right? Pick most of these key factors, guide your business with it, and you can succeed and do better than I did. And I think that would be the greatest asset I would have had in life, to realize that my failure has propelled somebody to become a greater business person.
Wow. So I think last week you mentioned it briefly. So quickly before we wrap up, how are you doing this? How are you using your life as an example for people to be able to easily consult you? Because people like you who have businesses, it looks like you are so busy, people troubling you here and there. How are you available to help?
Good. This year actually marks the 30th anniversary of my journey in entrepreneurship. And as part of my business development plan and my social enterprise, I have decided to move into consultancy in entrepreneurship, where I can help startup entrepreneurs to help them streamline their businesses when they have challenges. And also, we have persons within the corporate and public sector who have entrepreneurial acumen, but how to exit the fear factor of financial insecurity and job insecurity becomes a problem. So I'm also looking at prospective persons who want to go on pension or retirement, who also have the acumen of wanting to go into entrepreneurship, but do not understand the terrain within entrepreneurship. For this factor, I have come up with an initiative called the Cecil Entrepreneurial Coffee Session. This is an informal practical entrepreneurial conversation session that involves one-on-one or a group of persons or an institution or a corporate body, where we have an informal conversation to be able to discuss in-depth knowledge in practical entrepreneurial approach.
Right.
Most often on the formal setting, we try to do more of the theoretical aspect of entrepreneurship. But I am coming in with the practical, what actually happens on the ground.
Right.
How do we deal with it? And so this is one of the ways I have opened to allow persons to be able to reach out to me and can have my time.
Sure. That's very, very impressive. And thank you very much. I'm sure for 30 years, you have a lot of experiences you definitely want to share with people. Once you've started, you failed, you've picked yourself up, and you are now running, doing great stuff. So, but I mean, one thing that people immediately you hear about consultancy is you say, hey, Cash, I don't have money to consult. But I wouldn't go into that one. I'm sure when they get in touch with you on social media, you'll be able to discuss that one. So quickly, our time is over. So thank you so much for coming. But just to let you know that after this, Promasidor has some hampers for us. And then whoever calls in will ask you a simple question, and you'll be able to get that as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel E.K. Awumi, for being part of the show today.
You're so welcome.
Okay.
Good.
This is live Chat with Paul, and you can now call in, and there's a beautiful hamper from Promasidor, and it's Yamvita, yummy. If you call, you are definitely going to get a hamper from us and Promasidor as well. But before that, no, you can call in now. It's 0555 657278. You can call, but we are continuing our conversation, and I have one of my favorite pastors also here. He's in the person of Pastor Nyansa Buakwa, and he's the ambassador for a happy Valentine Mass Wedding 2020. I was going to say 2014. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so tell us, give us a summary.
Yes.
What so far, what's going on?
Thank you very much. I'm happy. My name is Pastor Nyansa Boakwa. I am the ambassador for 2020 Mass Wedding. This year has been very successful. We closed registration on the 17th of this month. So far, all registration process has been done at the Registrar General and AMA, which the District Assembly. It's a legal thing we're going through. So we went through the process. They will register for 21. They give 21 days before they can give approval for the final certification. So that is done. The event is happening on the 14th of February. Paul, do you know something? We have 14 couples this year. 14 couples.
14 couples.
14 couples.
Wow.
They were actually 17. For 3 were having issues with the date of marriage and all that. So now 14th is settled, and the date is, we are the 14th edition, and we are doing on the 14th of February. So wow. 14. It's
wow.
solid. 2020 is so beautiful.
That's very interesting.
Yes.
But I have Enoch on the line. Hello, Enoch. Good afternoon and welcome to Live Chat.
Please, good afternoon.
Right. We are going to give you a hamper from Promasida, but before that, the Yamvita comes in varieties. How many varieties do we have?
We have rice.
Okay, and what? I ask you how many varieties?
We have rice one and the cereal.
And what?
Rice and the cereal.
Right. I'm sure my producer is going to give that to you. So we have about 3 varieties now, and he's mentioned one. Thank you so much, Enoch. I speak to my producer of air. Yes, Pastor Nyansa Boakwa, you were saying that we have 14 couples this year.
Yes.
This is the 14th edition of the Happy FM Valentine Mass Wedding, and we are doing it on the 14th of February. Wow, that's very.
Yes.
As a pastor, does it have any significance?
Not really. I don't know. I think this is the make of the Lord, yes. And we are doing it at the National Theatre.
Right.
National Theatre.
Who is qualified to attend?
Everybody. If you want to do your wedding next year, if you want to see anything about wedding, come and see how it is done. You might not even join us next year, but you just want to have a feel of how weddings are done. This is National Theatre. Come and see the numbers. Come and witness it. If you are a corporate institution that you want to support us in any way, come and see how we do it, and so that you can support us and support us well. So on 14th February, all road leads to National Theatre. It is going to be beautiful. 14 couples on the same day.
Right. We have another person on the line. Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Live Chat.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Paul.
Is that Joseph?
Yes, please.
Right. So, how many varieties do we have regarding the Yamvita?
Oh, okay. I know we have rice. I know we have maize. And this last one. Yes, I'm right, and I know
wheat. We have wheat as well. So how many? All right. Thank you so much, Joseph, for calling. Hold on and speak to my producer off air. All right. So, Pastor.
So all is set. As I speak with you, Second Image is handling all the beauty stuff of the wedding, facials, everything will be done by Second Image. Beautiful. The gowns are ready. The suits from EA House of Suits ready. We've taken all measurements. The suits are ready for the wedding. Not stopping. The Cleaver House is taking care of reception. On the day, the reception will happen at Cleaver House near Tigo head office or Data Bank. That is where the garden reception will happen. But the main wedding is happening at the National Theatre, 14th of February. Today is 24th, so we have 3 weeks to do the wedding. So I want you to be there.
Right. Pastor, I think we would have to do this again when the time is getting closer. So we expect all of you at the National Theatre on the 14th of February. That's 14th of next month for the 14th edition of the Happy Valentine Mass Wedding for the 14 couples that are participating this year. It's going to be very, very interesting. Thank you so much, and I hope to have you again before the 14th of February. Thank you so much, Pastor, for coming.
Thank you so much.
This
Paul.
is Live Chat with Paul. Let's take our financial tip. Thank you so much for being part of the show. I believe you've been inspired, motivated, and empowered as well. My outfit is provided by Osasio Fashions. Always remember that God is with you. Take that giant step and He will see you through. My name is Paul Anomakodian.